Now then, it's Burnsy, and welcome to our regular Curiosity podcast. It seems like it's been for a while. Start again. Been for a while. Ring rusty. It's a new year. Shall we start again? Right. Now then, it's Burnsy. Welcome to our regular Curiosity podcast, the CuriosityCast. Every episode we take questions asked by members of the public in Hull and try to get them the best answers from the very best brains in the city. Not all questions are about Hull. They can be about whatever you want to discover, so don't be shy about getting in touch with us. For this episode, we've invited our friend and Hull's top journalist Angus Young to come in and give us one of his regular updates on what is, and sometimes isn't, happening in the city. We're giving it a twist this time, though. Rather than run down all the things that are delayed or going wrong or lost the funding or fallen into the river, we're going to try and concentrate on the positives, stuff that should be coming to fruition in 2026. It threatens to be a big year for the city, and what we can expect to have. And also slightly different, I'm just asking the questions today, and producer Dave will throw in a few as well. So welcome, Angus. Happy New Year and all that jazz. Let's get to good news for a change, is it? Please tell me it's good news for 2026.
Yes, I'm looking forward to a lot of good news and being positive and being half full rather than half empty today.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Three miserable sounding songs.
It is. You're right. You are right.
But I think there is a lot to look forward to with a lot of these projects who have, as you say, coming to some sort of fruition at long last. And I think you and I were both in short trousers when a lot of them got underway.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of short trousers, just a quick deviation, but why do blokes wear shorts in the middle of January these days? It didn't happen 15, 20 years ago, and now everybody's wandering around in bloody shorts.
There's a whole new pod in that, but it's a very good question. Postman, I would allow.
Yes.
A lot of them are maybe postmen's coming off shift, because apparently they all wear shorts, don't they?
Yeah, possibly.
Supposedly.
Is that to show off the dog scars?
And I checked with Dean Wilson, who of course famously was a postman. They said the legs used to overheat unless they wore shorts.
I was just wondering if it was climate change or something like that. But blokes in shorts in January just seems to be a modern phenomenon.
I think it's always happened in Hull, isn't it?
It's lost me.
It's always happened.
And all the legs are not going to be tanned, are they?
No.
Really?
And
they wear big coats and bobble hats, but they keep the shorts on. It's just
it's
fashion, Angus.
Is that what it is?
It could be hygiene, because it's handy we're killing off the germs, isn't it? And you get sharp frost, and that's it.
Possibly.
It's fashion, something that's not touched the Curiosity Cast not at any stage.
Not pretty to look at. But anyway,
that was a serious diversion.
Yeah. Anyway,
it was. Well, thank you for that. There's a whole other pod in that. There is another pod in that.
Back on the script anyway. Yeah.
Put that one on the back burner.
Who do we make the guest?
Yeah. Right. Well, there'll be somebody. There'll be a fashion expert out there. Anyway.
Yeah.
Back on track. Are all these major projects? The big one is around the maritime city and everything like that. Are all these major projects on time?
Well, they're not on time in terms of they've all been delayed.
Yes.
But they are all in retimed and due to be finished this year at various points during the year. So we'll start with the maritime project, which is a multi-layered beast. But mainly it's the Maritime Museum, which is going to be opening this year.
Definitely.
Right. So Spurn Lightship definitely reopening. And depending on whether they can get the silt out of the river and get the Arctic Corsair up the river and into the dry dock, then the Arctic Corsair will be in the new dry dock at the North End shipyard this year, and hopefully once it's in there, kitted out as a visitor attraction and open by the end of the year. A lot depends on the removal of that silt and the tides and things like that, but if they can get it in there, then it should be pretty much ready to go by the end of the year.
We'll stick on that then. From what you know then, that's obviously going to be a tricky thing. Is there only a small window of opportunity there, or is it hiring a ship to? I don't know how it works.
And there are only 2 or 3 days this year.
There's a couple of specific tides, and I can't tell you when they are. That is suitable for them to do it. They don't want to lower the tidal barrier for a long duration to sort of lock the river in as well. so I understand. There are a couple of tugs that are going to be pulling her up the river and pushing her in, and there's a planning application at the moment to remove the necessary amount of silt. I think it's around about 10,000 tonnes of silt, which they've got to get out of the river to create a channel for it to get in there.
Right.
But yeah, it is all, as I understand it, all scheduled to happen in stages this year.
Where does the silt go? Does anybody know?
Yeah, the silt can't. In the old days, they used to just dump it in the sea or dump it in the Humber.
But it's classified as industrial waste.
But
isn't
environmentally, they can't do it anymore because of the various contaminants within it, and so it's got to be pumped out onto the shore, the riverbank, next to the dry dock, where it will be. The water will be expunged from it and put back into the river, and the remaining nasties taken off for a dumping in a landfill site somewhere.
That sounds like it's going to smell.
it? Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty, I should imagine.
No. Be nice to have a new smelling old one.
And not that one, I suspect. I could be wrong. So that doesn't sound like a short process at all.
I don't know. I think they did a similar thing around about Drypool Bridge to clear some of the silt and make way for the works that are started last year and will continue this year, with again silt being removed and put on the riverbank. It's all scheduled to happen this year. The Scotch Derrick crane is now back in place. That's been refurbished. That's now back in place at the shipyard. The visitor centre's ready to go. That's up, finished as a building. So really, it just needs the ship there.
Scotch Derrick sounds like a bloke you go drinking with.
So it's mud out, ship in, mud dried, water back, mud out, ship fitted. It's a lot of work. That.
And then visitors flocking through the gates.
Visitors in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got to make that happen. And presumably you've got to get a specialist ship to come and do this, or do they have one already on the Humber?
To
do the dredging?
Yeah, there is a couple of dredging. There is a dredger that's going to be employed. I can't remember the name of it, but there is a dredging ship that's fitted with pumps to pump it all out onto the riverbank.
So is that the excuse me? Is that the one with the biggest question mark? I was trying to be positive, but I've reverted to type. Is that the one with the biggest question mark?
Yes, that's the one with the biggest variables. Put it that way. Yeah, the others, Queen's Gardens as well, we'll throw into the mix. Again, due to be finished this year. And
have we got dates for any of this?
I haven't got dates for any of them, but I think we're talking about late spring, early summer for the Maritime Museum. Queen's Gardens similarly as well. The Spurn Lightship. I think it was just a bit of landscaping around the actual marina that needs to be done. That I think is underway at the moment. So again, I think they should be all ready. I'm just guessing, but at least summer, I would think. Yeah.
Right, and makes it a hugely significant year for the city. They pinned quite a lot on this, haven't they, in terms of the tourism future of the city?
As I say, ongoing for a long time. They've all been delayed for one reason or another. And it takes me back a bit back to 2016, the year before City of Culture, with lots of orange barriers around it and everybody concerned about how much the city centre had been turned into a building site and things like that. And then suddenly it all disappeared and then things started to happen.
Right.
And I feel as if we're just about at that point with all these, all the maritime projects.
The city of brick dust and builders' cleavage, I think I called it at the...
Quite memorably, yes. And it's still ongoing. I think really, apart from that brief respite for the actual City of Culture, then we went back to that city of brick dust and builders' cleavage. So we've had it in Hull for quite a long time in the city centre.
Are they all geared up to go with a big marketing and publicity campaign? Do we know that?
There will invariably be a big marketing campaign. There's spent a huge amount of money on all of these projects, and they're going to have to get now bums on seats to justify that spend, I suspect. I mean, people will be curious and people will want to see the finished work, so I expect the Maritime Museum to be extremely busy.
Should be a jewel, shouldn't it? Because it is looking beautiful.
Yeah, and the bits that I've seen so far, I think that the way I've seen images of the whale skeletons going back in and things like that. It should look pretty good. There may even have to be, sort of a queuing system, I suppose. Maybe.
But it will be free, won't it? Or is there any talk that they're going to charge for any?
No, there's no change on that. So Hull Museums proudly boast that they're free. Free entry, and that will remain. Yeah.
And what about the Arctic Corsair? Will that be free?
Arctic Corsair will be free as well. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the museum.
Has there been no debate about?
No debate that I've seen, no. I mean, at some point, possibly, but I suspect that's probably a stipulation of the lottery fund that they've got as well, that it should remain free and accessible. There may come an economic point for the council to consider at some point charging, but they did that with the Ferrens many years ago. I don't know if you can remember that.
No.
It was a very nominal charge. It was about £1 or £2 to get in. And then they dropped it because it caused all sorts of problems. The take-ins in the cafe plunged because people weren't going to spend an extra couple of quid just to go in for a cup of tea. So they had at one point it was a ridiculous system where they barrowed you through the Ferrens just to get to the cafe for free, but you still had to, if you were going to go look at the paintings, you then had to they scrapped all that.
I only want cannelloni, not canaletto.
Very good.
I was not bad that actually. Welcome to 2026 on the CuriosityCast.
The listener doesn't realise you made me pause the recording for 5 minutes while you thought of it.
While I wrote it down. You've done me there. I see we've not changed into the new year. Very good. Talking of money, as this, because of the overruns, presumably there has been a substantial overrun on the budget for all these things.
Keep it positive.
I'm trying, but this is the reality for the taxpayers in the city.
That's a question you've asked me this before, and as I understand it, they're still within their budget envelope, so they may well have trimmed a few things off, perhaps, or they might have got funding from elsewhere that I don't know about to boost things along. So I know the council have been dipping into a bit of extra money for some of the river projects that have gone askew, so there might be some extra council funding going into it. I mean, a good example of that, if the council dipping in for extra money, is they've just done a story this week in Hull Story that I do a bit of writing for, that the council have dipped in and provided the funding for the South Blockhouse tourism project, visitor attraction down near the Deep, which is the old, what used to be the site of the Tudor fortress, Henry VIII's Tudor fortress. National Highways had put £1 million into that and then pulled it, so it had all gone a bit stale and it wasn't going to happen. And the council have agreed to step in and put that money in, so that is now going to go ahead. So there's going to be an interpretation, shall we say, of bits of that Tudor fortress.
Where is it, Angus? I can't picture it in my head. What's it next to?
It's sort of as you come under Mighton Street Bridge and you head into the car park area of the Deep, but before you get to the proper car park, there's a bit of sort of scrappy ground, and it's going to be there.
What, just on the right, on the river?
It's on the left as you come in.
I had a 50-50 chance there.
Yeah, it's where there's a bit of coach parking at the moment, sort of ad hoc coach parking that goes on for.
So you wouldn't know it's there then?
Not really, but you will do when these big structures go up. Yeah.
So what will it look like?
They're sort of big wire mesh structures that resemble parts of the old stone fortress. So you'll have
standing in for what was there,
big archways and things like that. And there's a couple of artists that are going to provide sort of art installation work there, and it's going to be like a little public park, if you like, with these big structures and an interpretation of how this huge fortress used to look.
Under the flyover?
Not under the flyover, but it is sort of there out in the open, within spitting distance of the Deep.
It doesn't sound particularly spectacular.
Positive.
Sorry, I can't help it. I'm being me.
I think it's one of those things that you got to work and use your imagination.
Oh, well, I'm buggered then.
There will be lots of interpretation
right.
panels, I should imagine, to tell you what you should be looking at and what was there a couple of hundred years ago.
Right.
At least it's something new. It's not a bit of scrap ground anymore. There's something there.
Yes, true.
There you go. Positive.
It'll pull people. It's that sort of connection between people at the Deep, people going to have a look at that, people maybe then going into the old town and looking at the museums, and eventually getting to the Arctic Corsair and a big pile of mud further up the river.
And I'm going to throw one in. It's not on any official tourist list, and I'm not on a commission or anything like that. But if you're looking for a good view of the city and the river, then the Premier Inn bar on floor 7 of the Premier Inn is a good view. Okay, you can see one way to the Humber Bridge and the other way to the Grimsby Dock.
That's where he photographed the bridge when we all painted ourselves blue.
Right.
And went nude. Spencer Tunick.
Right.
He photographed.
People talk very fondly of you in the nude, covered in
Do you
blue
know what?
paint.
They told us before we did it that any shots that were going out to the press were going to be general shots where you'd see a couple of hundred people. 2 days after it happened, I was on page 3 of The Guardian with it completely in the nip.
Well,
yeah.
Could have been worse. Could have been page 3 of The Sun.
Clearly me.
Not any shorts.
No, I'm not even doing the posing bit. It was when we were walking between 2 of the locations, and there's just me painted blue in the nip on page 3 of The Guardian. It was like the absolute opposite of page 3 in The Sun.
You imagine if it had been page 3 of The Sun, the letters of complaint. Dear. Have you got that framed at home?
No, I didn't know about it till it happened, and I managed to find out about it.
Maybe it should get blown up and put on, welcome to Hull.
Yeah. Or they could use it as when they're taking the 3 ships mural down, they can use it to cover it while they're doing the work.
It's been a strange podcast today. Yeah. I should tell you what you're listening to. Presumably you should know because you've got to select it. It doesn't come randomly to you. This is the CuriosityCast from Curiosity Hull. You can get in touch with us if you want to suggest some questions or something you want to hear about, something that you want us to explore. You can message us at www.curiosityhull.co.uk or find Curiosity Hull on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and Blue Sky. Angus Young, journalist of some esteem, is taking us through a positive look in 2026 for the City of Hull, because all these major projects are due to come to fruition. We've just talked about the blockhouse. Is that a 2026?
It's 2026 into 27 financial year. So yes, it's the next 12 months coming up, really. Yeah.
Right. Okay, but it won't be ready for the end of the year or anything like that.
I haven't got a timescale on that, but the money's certainly there to be spent this year.
Right. Okay. And they've got the money for that. So we've talked about that. Seeing we mentioned the flyover. Where are we? Are we finally going to see the world's most... It's not the world's most expensive underpass, isn't it?
Second most.
Well, no, it probably isn't. Are we going to see that nearly £500 million of public money come to fruition and see the A63 open this year?
Yes, we are, David. Yeah. It's certainly the most expensive road project ever in Hull. Yeah, we are. The tarmac is going down as we speak, and I don't know if you saw, but I was watching a drone fly through the other day by Chris at Octavision, Chris Fenton. It
does very good stuff.
Rather cheekily stuck his drone through the underpass. So
I've not seen that.
Yeah, no, I'm not too sure whether he was actually allowed to do that, but anyway, he did it.
You've named him now.
Named and shamed.
He'll be getting a letter or a knock on the door. But presumably he's put it on Twitter and social media.
Yeah,
has
it's
he?
on his Facebook page.
Right.
So it's a drone fly through underneath the underpass. I've got to say, it's just like any other underpass, really. When you go, it may be a bit underwhelming, I think, when you do it for the first time, because, you're in and out of it, shall we say? But
it's not that long, is it?
It's not particularly that long.
A couple of hundred
yards.
It's
not the length, is it? It's the significance. The point is, there is now even there are no traffic lights between Hull and Liverpool. So you can drive all the way from the docks in Hull to the docks in Liverpool without going through a set of traffic lights. And that was always the point of it, wasn't it? It was the traffic getting held up at Welton, which they got rid of, and traffic getting held up on Castle Street, which they've got rid of.
The Melton lights and then all the ones on Castle Street.
So there is no hold-up now through town. So in theory, we've suffered whatever it's been, 3-4 years of nothing but traffic jams. There should never be a traffic jam again.
Apart from when you get to Victoria Dock, where there are traffic lights.
Oh, yeah, of course there is, isn't there?
Yeah, on Roger Millwood Way,
the old hamburger roundabout.
It's technically a dock.
Yeah. But yes, so I was down at the Whittington Cat yesterday, purely for research purposes for this podcast, and I'm having a look at the roadworks down there, which is the intersection, if you like, from Ferrens Way coming across the top of that underpass onto Commercial Road and then that way, and they're cracking on with it down there as well. Still looks as though a bit of work to be done on that, but the pumping station, that's a big sort of thing, seems to be finished right next to it to keep the water out of the underpass. But it's a big old pumping station, there's an interesting little sort of thing I saw the other day, that the traffic regulation orders that allow them to close roads and things like that as part of the A63 project, that expires at the end of May. So you've got to assume that unless they're looking for an extension for that traffic regulation order, things by the end of May should be pretty much
ready to roll.
Yeah,
I
think they'll do bits, around the edges and things like that. They've still got to put the cemetery back together again. The burial ground still is in a bit of a state.
Don't get me started on that. 10 million quid on that just did my crust in, really. Spend it on the living.
Positive.
But again, positive, and of course with Hull it's going to take some time, I should imagine. But all that land to the south of the new road, if you like, or the new bit where the big works compound has been, which is where the old ARCO headquarters used to be off English Street, that is all going to, when National Highways finally bugger off, that's going to be all there to be developed. There's a big bit of land there, really, between effectively the Whittington Cat and all the way down to the Vauxhall Tavern. That sort of wodge of land is ripe for development, and so I expect that to be maybe come into play as something. I'd like to see something, maybe employment-wise. I don't think it's probably necessarily housing down there, but something that can maybe get developed down there, create jobs.
Going back to the money again, we mentioned that the maritime budget hasn't gone up despite the delays. They said the road budget wasn't going up either, that they could do it within existing funding, and it's been extended by a year. How does that work? How can you suddenly pay all this crew and all these people an extra year for the same money? I don't get it.
No, I don't get it, but it keeps getting promoted.
How much profit were they making?
It keeps getting promoted as 360 million or whatever the actual figures. That figure hasn't changed on all the official blurbs.
So it must just fall within the contingency then, I guess.
I would guess there is a contingency, yes, but a contingency that gets stretched for a year. And like I say, maybe they manage the contractors by not employing them as much as they can or stretching them out. I've got no idea how it works. And on these big national projects, there's never any real sort of follow-up inquiries, publicly anyway, to sort of work out where things went right, wrong, particularly financially. Yeah, you never seem to see that sort of stuff. You see it at maybe local council level sometimes. They have, after the horses pulled, there's inquiries about why things have gone crazy, and we've seen that on Queen's Gardens, at the explanations why Queen's Gardens has jumped so much, but on the big national projects, they just seem to get lost in the ether. And HS2 maybe being the big example on that.
That's bonkers.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, no, we have no control over that. On the subject of Queen's Gardens, when's that open?
That's open later this year as well. It's moving apace. There's some nice artwork that seems to be going in there. Again, giving Chris another plug at Octavision. I saw a drone shot of a big sort of art installation, circular thing, looking like the top of the world, done like the globe type of thing, looking at the Arctic, which I presume is a nod to Hull going out to the Arctic and catching whales all those many years ago. Although it does have the words Russian Federation around the side of it, alongside Canada, and maybe in the current political climate, it's going to be maybe a controversial one, but it looks nice from a drone point of view.
So the way it's going, the council are going to overspend on the budget for golden scissors and red ribbon to cut, aren't they? That'll be the big expense in 2026.
Knot it back together and reuse it.
Just sort of related, because it is going to be a big opportunity for the city to hopefully grab people and get them to come to the city, etc., etc. I saw one of your pieces for Curiosity suggesting that there was some suggestion that Luke Campbell was considering a tourist tax as the mayor of the region. Is there anything in that? Because my initial thought was, well, that's a really bad idea. You want to attract tourists. You don't want to be charging them a tax.
Well, yeah, the government in the budget in November introduced new powers for elected mayors in England to introduce what are called tourist taxes or overnight levies. Some overnight levies are already in place in some places. Manchester and Liverpool have them based on bid areas, which is, we've got a bid in Hull, the Business Improvement District area, so they've done their own sort of thing, but this is now formal legislation that they can widen those powers, if you like. And it's basically, it works by businesses in a particularly designated area adding an extra quid or £1.50 or £2 to an overnight charge, and then that extra levy is then put back into a pot to spend on improving the attractiveness of the visitor economy in that particular area. So it can go to fund events, it can go to physical improvements.
We're not doing it
in a particular area.
We're not doing it.
Well, I think there's a really good case for it.
Do you?
Really strong case for it. It's very little money for a kick-off. You're talking about £1, £1.50 per room per night, not per person. Now, when I've paid tourist tax in other places, Italy and all over the shop, you charge per person in cash at the start of your stay. And it's... When I took the kids to Naples a couple of years ago, straight away it cost me an extra 80 or 100 euros out of my own pocket. And it felt like that was taking the mick. £1 a night isn't going to get noticed, but it's going to get used locally rather than... Because most of the hotels around here are chains, so the money goes out of town. So the money will stay in the town. It's only £1. It's not going to put anybody off coming, but it will help the local economy. So I'm kind of... And it's worked in Manchester, hasn't it? The money goes back into creating more tourism.
I mean, you could argue as well, Hull's just been named in the top 25 places to visit in the world in the National Geographic magazine. So we're still getting that international publicity maybe on the back of 2017 and people pushing that sort of angle. In this particular part of the world, it would be Hull and East Yorkshire, so there would be tourist benefits for the East Coast.
I think it's more for it than against it.
I think there's a debate to be. I'm of the we want you to come, no tax, free to get in. Come and have a great time.
But if you're paying at least 70 or 80 quid a night for a hotel room, you're not going to feel £1. It's not going to make it. It's not going to stop people coming.
I think there's a debate to be had. We've only got 2 minutes left, and I want to talk about the 3 ships mural.
Yep.
Be positive.
Yeah, being positive that it's going to be pinned in place whilst they demolish the rest of the buildings behind it. So that pinning work is due to start fairly soon, and by the end of the year, the 3 ships will be standing in splendid isolation with the rest of the buildings hopefully finally demolished behind it. Ahead of whatever comes next, which again we're still waiting to see. But at least the 3 ships, some people like it, some people hate it. I personally like it. It's a massive big artwork, biggest of its kind in the country, and hopefully it will be safely scaffolded in place. And
will you be able to see it?
I've got no idea.
Oh, right.
I suspect it may be a honeycomb of scaffolding that keeps it upright and protected from the elements and anybody sort of wishing to try and topple it over. But it will be free from the structures behind it, standing alone and up and proud, and then, as I say, preserved and saved.
That's the positive.
Yeah.
The negative is they're then going to find the money to develop them behind it.
Well, there is the money there. They have got a budget set aside for it. It's more a case of finding a developer who's prepared to come in with them as a development partner and then deliver something that is going to make some money for the developer and keep the council happy.
Well, public-private partnership, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So
we didn't do bad there, did we? We kept it fairly positive, didn't we?
Yeah, okay. The sound of backs being slapped in the CuriosityCast studio at Hull Central Library.
Normally it's like
just
merry misery.
I've just avoided the rail electrification issue.
That's been going for years.
Keep that for another day.
Going for years. So we'll be back another time, maybe to discuss men in shorts in the winter, because I think there's more to be had. It's a good one, that, Angus. I like that. If you are a man in shorts, I hope, and listen to the podcast, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate that.
There's thousands of them out there.
Yeah, thank you to Angus Young for bringing us up to date on what should be a fantastic 2026 for the City of Hull. Fingers crossed, everybody. If you want us to talk about something on the CuriosityCast, or you have anything that you want us to do on Curiosity, then do send us a question or send us a suggestion, either for the next podcast or in the content you can find on the Curiosity social feeds. So message us at www.curiosityhull.co.uk or find Curiosity Hull on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and Blue Sky.